Thank you, Rowan. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to NNDC. It's nice to see so many of you here. We're here this morning, obviously for premises committee meeting. So welcome. You've been reminded to turn your mobile phones off already by our legal assistant. So no excuse now. We will be live streaming this morning as you've already been told. Therefore, we are requesting everyone use microphones because although we can hear you in here, you can't hear on the live streaming when people aren't using their microphones, and obviously they have the right to hear as well. The process will be as set out in the agenda. We are not expecting fire alarms this morning, so if it does go off, it is a real thing, and the officers here will direct you to calmly leave the building and meet in the appropriate place. Apologies for absence.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Nigel Housden, with Councillor Martin Beattie present as a substitute.
Okay. I need to introduce members, right?
If we could just go through items of urgent business and declarations of interest, and then we'll make introductions during item 5.
Thank you very much. So items of urgent business, please.
None received.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Have we got any declarations of interest? None? None noted, thank you. And then we come into item 5, which is the Peasants Tavern in North Walsham. So the subcommittee has been convened to consider the application for a new premises licence at the Peasants Tavern in North Walsham, and the subcommittee is sitting to consider matters under the Licensing Act of 2003. I'm chair for today, and I'm Councillor Liz Withington, and I shall ask my fellow colleagues to introduce themselves.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Councillor Eric Barley.
Councillor Martin Beattie.
Thank you both. And then can I ask the officers to introduce themselves, please?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Nikki Davison. I'm the licensing officer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And
Lauren Gregory, Democratic Services Officer.
And Lauren will be keeping us all in order. So thank you very much for what you're doing, Lauren. Moving on. We need to find out who all of you are. So partly because it's very nice to know who we're talking to, but also it's important for people who are watching to know who's here. So could I ask, please, the people from representing the applicants, please, to all of you introduce yourself. I'm aware that only Mr. Holden is speaking, but it would be nice to hear from everybody. So if we go along in a line, thank you.
Hello, I'm Adam Darricott, one of the directors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Charles Holden. I'm production director of Braille.
Thank you.
There you go. I'm Peter Phillips. I'm the managing director of the whole thing.
Thank you.
I'm Jane Morton. I'm one of the directors.
Thank you.
I'm Paul East. I'm one of the directors.
Leslie Phillips, one of the directors.
Thank you very much. Are we introducing all attendees?
I think, Madam Chairman, it's sufficient that we've just heard from the managing directors who are potentially able to speak.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. So I can confirm that you will get 15 minutes and each party, including our licensing officer, will have 15 minutes to put forward their points of view and consider the application. So I think we will ask the legal advisor to explain the procedure for the meeting, please. That's what I've got down. Item 6. Second page. All right, okay. Okay. Sorry.
I do apologise. I do apologise. I was on the wrong team.
That's all right. It's all right. I thought, for a moment, I thought I was in a different place.
You were. Too many hearings. I was midway through a taxi hearing. One quality the other way. What will happen now is. Sorry.
Can you turn your microphone on, please? It's the funny face with
The
things coming out of the
Funny
mouth.
face, thank you. We go. Can't even work the electrics. Age. Shortly, the licensing officer will provide their report. What will then happen is that questions of the licensing officer may be asked initially by the committee. We will take questions should you have any questions. Presumably you have a nominated speaker, I understand, and therefore through the nominated speaker. Once we've got through that, then it'll be your turn to present your case. And then if there are any other people wishing to speak who've made representations, they will be entitled to do so. But if they're not here, or somebody else is here who wishes to speak but hasn't made a representation, they will not be able to speak. Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. So go across to Officer Davison. Please, if you could give us your report.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So this hearing is to determine an application for a new premises licence made under section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003. It's been made by Braille Limited in relation to premises to be known as Peasants Tavern, formerly known as the Market Tavern, on 18 Market Street in North Walsham. The application was received by the licensing authority on the 11th of September of this year, and the application for a new premises licence can be seen in Appendix A, which is pages 33 to 53 of this report. The premises is located in the North Walsham Town Centre and is proposed to continue to be used as a public house. The premises comprises a bar servery area with seating at the front and additional seating at the rear, with a small courtyard area at the rear. The floor plan of the premises can be seen in Appendix B, which is on page 55 of this report. And I also attach a location plan showing the location of the premises, and that can be seen on page 87 of this report. The nominated designated premises supervisor for this premises is Adam Doricott, one of the directors here at the committee. So the application was made subject to statutory consultation period, which is prescribed by regulation. So the notices were advertising the application have been on display at the premise and also in the North Norfolk News on the 14th of September. A copy of that notice can be seen on page 53 of this report. So the application was also made available on the council's website. The consultation period ended on the 9th of October of this year. So the application is seeking permission to allow the licensable activities to take place, which include the sale by retail of alcohol for consumption on the premises and for consumption off the premises, Monday to Sunday, 11 till 0100 hours, with an extension for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and New Year's Eve until 0200 hours. So the operating schedule steps, which are proposed by the applicant to promote the licensing objectives, are also contained in the report on pages 42 to 43. A premises licence would be subject to the mandatory conditions, which can be seen on pages 13 to 15 of the report. And any licence can also be subject to those conditions that are proposed by the applicant in their operating schedule. The applicant has agreed for further conditions to be imposed in agreement with our council's environmental protection team, and those conditions can be seen on pages 15 to 16. So this hearing is necessary to determine the application for a new premises licence following receipt of 4 other person representations objecting to the application. So the licensing authority received received 4 representations from responsible authorities under the Licensing Act. These are also detailed on pages 16 to 17 of the report. So the licensing team for Norfolk Constabulary had no objections, subject to the conditions offered in the application. And this response from the police can be seen on page 85 of the report. The Environmental Protection Team of Environmental Health had no objections, subject to these the agreed conditions. And these conditions I will read out are on pages 79 to 80 of the report. So the first condition that was agreed with the applicant is, so the licensee, the DPS, shall ensure that no nuisance is caused by noise emanating from the premises or by vibration transmitted through the structure of the premises. The designated premises supervisor or a nominated representative shall have full control at all times over the sound amplification equipment. The volume shall be adjusted accordingly to the requirements of the licensing authority or the responsible authority. All internal events, music and entertainment must not continue beyond 2300 hours, and any external events, music and entertainment must not continue beyond 2200 hours without the prior approval of the licensing authority. The specification and orientation of all speakers shall be agreed with the licensing authority or responsible authority. Prominent clear notices shall be displayed at all exits and any external areas, so the courtyard at the rear on the premises, reminding customers to respect the needs of local residents and to minimise any disturbance or nuisance to neighbours whilst on site and whilst leaving the premises. So all external doors, windows must be kept closed other than for access and egress in all rooms when events involving amplified music or speech are taking place. And they are the agreed extra conditions between the Environmental Protection Officer and the applicant. We had a response from the Norfolk Fire Service, being a responsible authority. They acknowledged the application and provided their guidance with regards to small and medium places of assembly. And that representation can be seen on page 83 to 84 of the report. So we did receive the 4 representations from the other persons that were based on public nuisance, crime and disorder, and protection of children from harm. They were mostly based on activities that took place under the previous licence holders' control. One of the representations has since been withdrawn, and their representation with withdrawal is also in the pack. The representation from the other persons, including the withdrawal notifications, can be seen on pages 57 to 77 of the report. And the table of the other persons can be seen on page 18 of the report. So following the receipt of the other person representations, I did arrange for a meeting to take place at the premises with myself present, inviting all the other persons and the applicant. And this did take place on Thursday, the 19th of October of this year. 3 of the 4 other persons did attend the meeting, where they were provided with a full copy of the application, a copy of the plan, together with the agreed conditions between Environmental Protection and the applicant. The purpose of the meeting was for the other persons to express their concerns to the applicant and for the applicant to explain their business case, their operating procedures, and to alleviate any concerns that those other persons had. We had a tour of the premises, and I did feel that that meeting was, was a successful meeting. So from that meeting, one of the objectors did withdraw. 2 of the other persons, I have not had any correspondence, whether they wish to retain or withdraw. And as I had no withdrawals, their objection would still stand. And I did receive notification that the person who did not attend the meeting still wished for their objection to remain. So the subcommittee will be aware that its consideration is confined to the promotion of the licence and objectives, and the need or commercial demand of the licensed premises are not considerations for this licensing authority when you discharge your licensing functions. In carrying out your licensing functions, the licensing authority must have regard to the representations made orally and written, together with the statement of the licensing policy published under Section 5 of the Licensing Act, and any guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182. And the Section 182 guidance, the most current, was published in August of this year. So the licensing authority must carry out its licensing functions under the Act with a view to promoting the 4 licensing objectives, which are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, protection of children from harm, and the prevention of public nuisance. So in determining the application for a new premises licence, the subcommittee may take steps as you feel necessary and appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. So you may grant the application, subject to further conditions, or you may refuse the application. Any party that is aggrieved by the decision taken by the licensing authority in respect to this application has a statutory right of appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days. And that concludes my submission, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now move on to questions from the committee. So I'll invite my colleague to the officer.
I've nothing got them present. So.
Nothing at the moment. Councillor Beatty?
No.
I've got a question which is possibly procedural rather than for information. If we request independent further conditions to be added, at what stage do we do that? Is it in this conversation with you now or when following discussion with the applicant?
Okay, so if you are minded to include any further conditions, so you were looking to grant subject further conditions, that would be a conversation that you would have when you retire, when you make the determination, and you've got the legal advisor who will be able to guide you legally.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, given that we haven't got any further questions of the officer, we would like to ask the applicant to set out their case, please.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Charles Holden. I'm the production director for Braille Limited, and as such, I'm primarily involved in the setup, running and procedures relating to the Peasants Tavern upon opening. For over a decade now, I've been employed as part of the management team in a multi-award winning public house in Norfolk, primarily as a professional cellar manager specialising in real ale, and I'm fortunate to list multiple CAMRA Public Years Award for Norwich and District, culminating in 2022 by being a finalist in CAMRA's National Pub of the Year. I'm also part of a team of directors with Braille Limited that share ethical ideologies and community values, a team that comes from varied backgrounds such as health, education, industry and business, but who all believe in the inclusivity of all in a warm and welcoming environment. I believe a brief outline of our vision for the Peasants Tavern we have as a team may be a positive place to start regarding our actions to address the concerns highlighted by local residents. Primarily, our target is to create a hub for the whole community, a safe, comfortable, inclusive environment for all, where friends can meet and be made and social groups can hear themselves speak, a place where we can be a positive part of combating any social isolation. With that in mind, we are aiming to be what is often referred to in the trade as a quiet pub. This is generally defined as such on the basis of no heavily piped music, no loud jukeboxes, no flashing fruit machines, nor large televisions streaming sports, no pool table, although we are considering a traditional bar billiards table, just great conversation and banter between customers and friends. The layout and our plan for the public house has already led to inquiries from groups as diverse as the North Walsham Buffaloes and even a local knitting group about being able to meet or hold meetings at the Peasants. a positive reaction to our ongoing interaction with the local community as a whole. The fare we intend to offer primarily revolves around high quality real ale with no gassed lager or keg lager, an important point in our particular style of pub. But all of our wine, spirits, craft and European bottle or can selection, bar snacks, coffee, soft drinks, all will be of exceptional quality, treated with knowledge and care and respect, and locally sourced wherever possible to continue to be sustainable and to keep money flowing into the local economy. This plan has no place for low quality lagers or doubled up shots of cheap spirits or shooters or that variety of drinking. It's not, in fact, it's far, far from what we represent. And we are trying to promote the responsibility of drinking at all costs. We favour a high quality of staff training and a happy, almost family sense of teamwork in an all-inclusive environment, a chance to be part of something special and to progress with us. And we are always inclined to employ staff from the local area. We want to work with and bounce off the other businesses in this area and to be part of the future development of the centre of very much a growing Walsham. We aim to help lift the centre of this beautiful and historic town, and combining with the other excellent hospitality offerings of the area to be a positive part of making North Walsham a target town for increased footfall with tourism, be that of beer tourism or otherwise. Now, with the majority of directors living and working in North Walsham itself, we've been able to speak to the local community over a sustained period of time. We've listened to their concerns and believe our style of public house fits with their needs, but it doesn't stop there. We will keep this dialogue ongoing and always be directly approachable at all times, be it face-to-face or by telephone or electronic mediums. We have also been in communication with and started building positive relationships with the other public houses and businesses in the area, and will be active in the local pub watch scheme, promoting safety and good practice. We understand from the objectors to our application for this licence that there were concerns and some difficulties previously regarding the public house as was. But we also believe we have and are able to take the appropriate steps to overcome these. Already the period of closure we've had so far has given us a chance to reset people's mindsets and expectations as to the style of pub we intend to open. We understand specifically that there was an issue regarding previous customers exiting the rear fire escape and acting inappropriately in the garden of Bear Court. Action is already ongoing, adding an alarm to the fire exit and having internal closed circuit television cameras continually monitoring the area. Any inappropriate use or tampering with this system would automatically result in the party or parties being removed from the public house. We want to take this action to reduce any disturbance to Bear Court and all of our other neighbours even further. Although it is our intention to stay within the remit of being as such a quiet pub, we also have plans in place to add insulation to the rear of the building, thus helping with noise and heat loss reduction. To add to this, we are already taking action to reduce any noise transfer from the small rear courtyard, utilising effective building materials and even types of plants and planting methods to achieve this aim. Concerns regarding our requested licensing hours have also been raised. Our intention is to clearly keep opening hours of 12 midday till 11 PM, 7 days a week, and to advertise them as such, with the rear courtyard being closed to patrons an earlier time, which we are discussing and is yet to be confirmed. My reasoning for the difference between opening and licensing hours is very much twofold and is based upon my quite long experience within the trade. Firstly, it gives us a little bit of flexibility regarding closing hours over such events as New Year, birthdays and special occasions, or even pre-arranged group meetings overrunning. It just gives us a touch of flexibility there. Obviously, any event that calls for a slightly later closing time will be fully notified to our neighbours and the community as a whole around us in advance, and we would appropriately take action on any concerns raised. Secondly, and the most importantly, or most important point, it enables customers a little bit of flexibility to leave when ready and us to stagger their exit time. So often, any noise or disturbance around public houses in the evening is due to patrons having to, as such, down their drinks and vacate en masse at a very specific time in the evening. It's not uncommon at all for public houses to have longer licensing hours than opening hours as a whole anyway. And as per my current experience, it has proven extremely effective at reducing late night disturbance. Combining this with an effective CCTV system internally, also covering the rear courtyard, helps enable us to ensure the safety and behaviour of all patrons and the security of staff. Probably the most important and effective way to eradicate any potential issues and alleviate currently highlighted concerns is the employment and training of staff. The knowledge to promote responsible drinking backed by the lack of a happy hour, doubling up for £1 spirit offers, and full support from an experienced manager is just the start. Challenge 25, for example, is another step on that road. We understand that it is in the best interests of our own business and those of the people we employ to ensure we invest heavily in their training and to instill a strong sense of belonging and professionalism. Essential training courses covering everything from cellar management, fire safety, first aid and beyond will be fully supplemented with training on conflict resolution, handling difficult situations, personal safety and more. The list is endless. This will be honed and kept up to date with a structure of in-house training and an appraisal program promoting progression. All in all, to sum up this short speech, our overall intention is not just to reach a standard above the expectations of our neighbours who have voiced concerns. Our aim is to create a different style of calm and welcoming public house for the community than was here before, and to work with local businesses and the community as a whole to set the standard for North Walsham and such a beautiful surrounding area. If there are any further questions, I am more than happy, or any points you'd like to clarify, I'm more than happy to speak. All I can do now is thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much for a comprehensive report. And Lauren, there is some documentation which has been given to us.
Yes, the persons have submitted some information which they have asked to be circulated to members, so I shall do so now.
Thank you. We will move to questions from the committee to Mr. Holden. So I understand, Councillor Vardy, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, and thank you for your presentation. One of my primary concerns is about the reassurance to the residents nearby, which I'm sure and you've covered in your presentation. But the detection, the fear of detection is a primary crime reduction influence. And I see that you've put down that the premises are covered by CCTV. There's CCTV and CCTV, if you get my drift. What I would need from you is some reassurance that it's a proper inclusive system that covers not only the interior for your own protection as much as anything else, but also the courtyard as well, where there's been some, as you've seen through comments made by the public who are not here today, they could have presented it. And in fact, the fact the police have not commented on this, but nevertheless, I think it would be a duty to yourself and to your staff's safety, if you like, that there is a decent CCTV system giving coverage of both the internal and the courtyard areas of the premises. I wonder if you could explain what that system might include. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we already actually have planned out and mapped a set of cameras covering the front and rear entrance and actually covering all internal areas on a constantly rotating basis that is available both to the staff physically on a visible screen while the public house is open, but also on a continuously recording digital basis. This covers both the courtyard. There are 2 camera setups for the rear bar, so no area is left uncovered, and we will also be covering the front entrance. I believe Paul actually has already set most of the wiring into place for this system, but we would have a continuously recorded digital long-term system that would also lead to any staff behind the bar being able to check at any time what was happening in the courtyard, and obviously it would also run while we were not actually in the public house itself and when it was closed. So it hopefully should eradicate any difficulties.
Thank you. That's very reassuring to hear, and I hope that the system is put into place and that it's operated proficiently, and that your staff members, of course, are trained in its usage, and of course communications with the police, etc., etc. As a separate issue, I applaud you on your business ethos. I think it's the kind of premises that I can reflect back on my early days visiting licensed premises. But thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. For the purposes as we are being live streamed, can I just like to clarify, you're using the term courtyard, and obviously we have a building at the rear, which is Old Bear Courtyard, and you've also got your rear seating area, which I assume is a kind of courtyard, given the nature of your thing. So can I just clarify that CCTV, I've got my teeth back in, that CCTV is covering both that rear seating area and also the entrance or the exit from onto Old Bear Courtyards. Too many courtyards, aren't there?
As it stands at the moment, the setup we've actually got in place, the exit onto Bear Court is separate. It's the other side of the building to our small courtyard area on the plans. The small courtyard area we will definitely have a camera on. The exit onto Bear Court is literally, as it stands, just a fire exit. So we'll be alarming that and also have a covering internal camera for that use. The outside of that is just a route for a fire escape. The courtyard itself is the other side of the rear of the building, but that in itself is already being lighted. Yes, yeah.
Okay, but you would be able to see if someone had gone through there and identified.
No problem at all. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Beattie, have you got any further questions?
No.
No, I think that's a measure of the comprehensive nature of your report. So thank you very much. Officer Davison, you're looking very proactively at me.
I've just got one question, if I may. So my question is just, can I just ask what experience the proposed DPS, Adam Doricott, has with running licensed premises or sort of the alcohol side, please?
Would you like me to reply or add? No, I will be, the strengthly, Adam is, obviously qualified for his personal license. He does have some experience within trade, but on a management level, I will be in complete control of the building itself with Adam to be the local call upon. The issue primarily is as it stands, I do not live particularly close to the building itself. That's something that will change, obviously, once business is set in place, whereas Adam is very, very close by, but he's taken all relevant qualifications. He will be working sometime in the public house, and I will be mentoring him on the management of on-site, the on-site usage of a public house. So it should be no issue. It was more the point that he is a lot physically closer to the building than I am. So if there was an issue or a problem, I would expect himself and myself to be contacted.
That's brilliant, because obviously the DPS, doesn't it, premises supervisor, doesn't have to be on the premises at all times. But that's a really sensible approach. So Charles, can I just ask, do you hold a personal license?
I do indeed, yes.
As a point of interest, Councillor Ryan has a further question.
Yeah, just to what are relevant qualifications?
Relevant qualification, mine or Adam's? Adam has spent many, many years of experience in public houses, performing, drinking and serving. So
I might be able to help. So it's the National Certificate for Personal Licence Holders. That's the recognised qualification that you would require in order to obtain a personal licence from the licensing authority in which you reside.
that's what I was saying. Thank you.
It's all right. We appreciate you're not telepathic. Thank you. Right, okay, I understand we don't have any other submissions from the relevant authorities, is that correct?
No, we haven't received any representation to attend the meeting from any of the relevant authorities. I understand that's because they're satisfied with the conditions outlined, and the other persons who objected haven't aren't in attendance at the meeting, so their representations are purely as per the officer's report.
Okay. So that takes us on to 15. The chairman shall invite each of the parties to present a closing submission of no more than 5 minutes to the subcommittee, starting with Officer Denson.
Thank you, Chair. So before you today, you have an application for a new premises licence for the Peasants Tavern, 18 Market Street, North Walsham, which is being sought by Braille Limited and seeking the licensable activities for the sale by retail of alcohol for consumption on and off the premise. This is Monday to Sunday, 1100 hours to 0100 hours, and until 0200 hours on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. So there's been no objections received from any responsible authorities, and we currently have 3 standing objections from other persons. So the subcommittee must have regard to promoting the licensing objectives in the overall interests of the local community and give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to the promotion of the licensing objectives. The representations, including any supporting information presented by all parties, guidance under the section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, together with the North Norfolk District Council's statement of licensing policy. The steps that you can take are to, if you wanted to grant the application, you may want to grant the application subject to further conditions, or you may wish to refuse the application. Thank you. That's my closing statement.
Thank you very much. I now presume they'll have an opportunity.
You invite the applicant if they have anything that they wish to make as their closing statement for up to 5 minutes.
The only thing I'd like to do is thank you. No closing statement. I think we've covered as much as we can from our side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I must say I have found your presentation very helpful, and you answered a lot of the questions that I had written on my agenda. So thank you for that. And I'm sure That's true of my colleagues as well, so thank you. So at the end of the closing submissions, can I ask the legal advisor if there's any clarification or points they wish to make to advise the committee? Okay, thank you. Do you wish to address the committee on any other outstanding matters? No, thank you. Thank you for everyone who's spoken and contributed. We will now be retiring to another room to consider the matter amongst ourselves. So we will be back in due course. So welcome back, everyone. We have considered the application and discussed it in full. And I will turn to our legal advisor who will read the decision.
Sorry,
There's a village in Ireland missing an idiot there. And I'm missing the village too. The subcommittee grants the application in accordance with the duly amended schedule and license. But in addition, it does create one additional condition that all fire doors are alarmed. I think there's only one, but just in case you have put note on it, be mindful. The subcommittee had due regard to licensing objective evidence in the report, as well as all the written and oral evidence the parties put forward. The overall ethos was a departure from anything historical and was welcomed by the committee. They agreed that proposed variations were suitable to enable the license to be granted. They were of the view that the applicant had taken the responsible authorities and other persons' objections seriously and were satisfied that the applicant had balanced the needs of the local residents with those of the business. On that basis, the license is granted. That's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further comments on that?
Okay, so we've had the verbal determination today, and so going forward, the hard copy written determination will be provided within the next 5 working days.
Thank you very much. So I think all it remains to say is I hope you have a successful new venture and that you are part of the community as you obviously so wish to be. So go forward and enjoy, as they say. You're welcome.